Please note that the content of this episode has explicit language and is not suitable for underage listeners.
Hi, I'm CJ, and I've done phone sex for 23 years. Let's get started. Hi, I just wanted to remind you all to please email me at phonesexqueen1@gmail.com with any questions or comments. I'd really love to hear from you. So I look forward to hearing from you. I got off a call the other night, and I started laughing out loud to myself, of course. I'll tell you why. I was on a call with a new caller, and he was kind of interesting in that he pretty much right away was telling me how good I was and how much he loved me and how sexy I was. You know how I feel about that. I don't love, that they tell me they love me, but he wanted to get into having phone sex, obviously. That's why he called, for no fantasy, no role play, just phone sex to tell me how sexy I was and how much he loved me and adored me. We were on the phone for 27 minutes. Now, if I'm getting into it and having phone sex with someone, moaning, groaning, whatever it is I'm doing, personally, I like to hear an ending from my caller. How likely is that to happen? Yeah, it happens sometimes, but what made me laugh was he abruptly hung up. Why did that make me laugh? Well, when you're moaning and groaning and oohing and awing and it's kind of startling when someone just hangs up on you, like click. You kind of have to readjust yourself and go, okay, that's done. So in CJ's perfect world, which we know does not exist, I would hear a guy come, like to the end. They came, they say whatever it is they're going to say, thank you, whatever, and hang up. But that doesn't always happen. And I was with a friend of mine, and I was saying that guys don't want you to hear them come. They want to hang up before you hear them. Some people want you to hear them, and some people don't. It's like you're putting on the brakes. Click. What? It can be startling. It's like when someone asks me, do I like a guy to make noise in bed? The answer to that is yes. Were you in jail where you couldn't make a sound? I don't want a quiet guy. I don't want a quiet guy in my personal life, and I don't want one on the phone, just like a guy doesn't want a quiet girl most of the times. I mean, I have been told to keep quiet once, but for the most part, men want to hear you being pleasured, and it's the same with me. I want to hear that a man is enjoying himself, and on the phone, I really want to know that I'm doing a good job, let's say, and I want to hear you come, but they don't want to do that. So I just wanted to relay that to you, how weird it felt when this new guy just abruptly hung up. It does happen with a lot of people. It just struck me odd that night. And like I've told you before, I have regulars who do that, and I'm used to it now. But with a new person, it was kind of strange. So I just wanted to tell you that. I had an interesting thing happen. I don't know how interesting it is to you, but it was interesting to me. I have a caller who hasn't called for sex in quite a while. He just calls me to talk, to tell me about his dating life, his work life, how lonely he is, his travels, what he hopes for. So he called the other night. Now, he has been telling me, well, let me back up a little bit. In the beginning, we had phone sex. Then he started telling me about men that he was interested in and how he traveled overseas and found a man or two and had sex with them and how wonderful that was. And that was great. He found an escort. He really fallen for this guy, young guy. And so we would talk about that. I haven't really heard him talk about a woman in a really long time. So when he called me the other night and was telling me how much he loves me and how much he misses me and how he really wants to meet me, it segued into us having phone sex. But it was weird. And I was super hesitant at first because I got so used to hearing him talk about men that when he was saying, ooh, I just want to eat your pussy, I'm thinking, don't you prefer dick? Like, this is really odd to me. You're telling me that you want me to spread my legs and eat my pussy. And I'm like, isn't your preference guys? And now you're talking to me about eating my pussy. Now, I know people like both. But in this instance, it struck me odd how he was getting so into it with me. The dynamic was just weird. It took me a while to get past it. I don't think I really did. I think I've gotten to the point with him where I just want to talk to him. I don't want to have phone sex with him, but he is a customer and I have to treat him that way. But at the end, when he was done and he kept telling me he loved me and he wanted to meet me and he couldn't wait till we do this in person, that gets a little hairy, as you know. It's just hard for me. I don't know what to say other than you're sweet and you're nice and oh, that is just so sweet. He's not going to stop calling and that's okay. He leaves me good reviews and that's great. It's just uncomfortable for me, but I guess phone sex can be uncomfortable, so I hang up and go to the next call. I'm a little concerned because I know these people want to come out and they want to meet me and they want to have sex with me and on, but some of them take it a little more seriously than others. So I'm hoping that his neighbor that he talks to me about and he can hook up so that he can still have phone sex with me, but kind of concentrate on that person. So on the platform that I work on, we make up our own per minute price. We can charge whatever we want, and then the company takes a percentage, and then you can figure out how much you make per minute. So I've been pretty generous with my callers. I haven't raised my prices. I've kept them the same. And one day, I'll just say a year ago, maybe longer, but a year ago, I decided I was going to raise my price like 7 or 8 cents per minute. You would have thought I raised it $1 or $2. We're talking pennies now. I know that these guys are paying a lot per minute, but I'm much lower than many women. So I get an email from someone that was a regular. He would stay on the phone with me for 6 or 7 minutes and hang up every single time without fail. Never went over 7 minutes ever. And he had the nerve to write me and say, "You raised your prices." And I said, "Yeah, I haven't raised my price in over a year." "Well, I'm not going to call you anymore." "Well, I'm sorry that you're not going to call me anymore, but for your 6 or 7 minutes, I think I'll be okay." He was annoyed with me, for sure. He didn't write anything mean. I appreciated that. But I know that's rude, but I can't stay at the lowest price forever. I try to be fair. I don't do this for a living. If I did it for a living, I would have to charge much, much more. And so I try to be fair with these guys. And some of them, he's not the only one, but some of them really get mad. I mean, it's not even 10 cents. So today I would love to raise my price like 10 cents, but I run the risk of losing my callers. So I learned in business that it's volume. So you could have something at a lot of money and sell one, or have a bunch of something and sell it for less, but make more money. If that makes any sense to you, and that's kind of where I'm at with this. Yes, I'm less than a lot of the other girls, but I might get more calls that last longer. They might get one call and make $100 where I get 8 calls and make $200, something like that, So I've given up raising my price now. But in 2025 is a different year and I might need to raise my price then just a little bit. But for now, I'll keep it the same. I know there's inflation and I can use that, but I try to be fair and I tell them all when they say, "Oh, you're the cheapest girl," or whatever. I'm like, hey, I try to be fair with you guys. I try not to gouge you. I get frustrated for sure when people talk to me about my per minute price. Like, look, if you don't want to talk to me, call someone else. My feelings won't be hurt. I might be disappointed because we've been talking so long, but my feelings won't be hurt. The thing is, we can make a deal. You can tell me when you're going to call. I can lower my rate, but someone needs to tell me that my rate's too high, and I will lower them. I had a caller who would tell me, "Your rate is too high. Can you lower it?" And I would be, "Okay, I'll lower it." I would lower it and you can call me. But the problem with that is the other people see my rate as lower and then they want that rate. So it's tricky. And I wouldn't do it often, but for a caller who calls me a lot and if they're going through a difficult time, yes, I would do it for them. It's very flexible, this job. I'm not inflexible. I'll work with you. So that's how I feel about that. If a caller wants me to talk to them and they are having, and they're struggling, then fine. I will make an exception, but I'm not going to do that every single time. On to another subject. So I had a caller that was different the other night. So this guy calls me, new caller, says that he's laying in bed humping his oversized teddy bear. Take that one in for a second. I said, okay. So he said he wanted to have a role play of him being cuckolded and found humping his teddy bear. So I had to think about that for a minute, and we start with him humping his teddy bear, and I catch him in the act and I tell him that I had caught him before and I watched him but didn't tell him. And so tonight I'm bringing over my lover and he's going to take care of him and get him ready for me. He loves this. We start role playing that he's getting my lover ready and he's sucking him and doing all these things. And then at one point he says he's going to sit across the room, which is what I told him to do. But he wanted his teddy bear with him. So I said, I'll let you know if you can have your teddy bear with you. You have to be a good boy. I let him have his teddy bear. So then he said, well, I want to be on the same bed as you. And I said, okay, come over here, get on the bed, leave your teddy bear over there. And he wanted my lover to make a choice whether he wanted to fuck him or me. I love how these fantasies and role plays play out. You never know where it's going to go. I think it's going to go one way and it goes another way, takes some kind of turn. So I immediately know what he wants. And I say, he chooses you. And he says, oh, I want to be bent over my teddy bear. So needless to say, I tell him to get his teddy bear. He's bent over and my lover is fucking him. It's not about me, of course. It's about him taking it in the butt by my lover while he's humping his oversized teddy bear. I started out this call and I wanted to ask him how long he's been doing this, where it came from, but the call didn't go in that direction. So I didn't get to find out all of that, which I'm very interested in. How did you start humping a teddy bear, an oversized teddy bear? When did that begin? How did you get into this? But I couldn't ask all that. Did you do it as a child? Did you grow into it? Did you start this as an adult? Did he win something at a fair? I mean, who knows how it started, but I'm curious about that. Aren't you? Aren't you curious to know how somebody just morphs into humping their teddy bear? So needless to say, this whole thing ended where my lover, like I said, was fucking him in the ass. He was excited and he came and everything was great. Anyway, I thought you'd get a kick out of it because I did. I haven't heard anybody in a very long time. I mean, years and years ago talking about stuffed animals. But here we are with a new guy who loves to hump his teddy bear. So you never know what you're going to get in a night. It keeps life exciting. It's very interesting. One of the questions that I get asked all the time, I would say a few times a month, is how do you keep from laughing out loud? That's never been an issue for me. I know some things seem silly. For example, I'm humping my teddy bear. Friends I know for a fact would laugh out loud and the caller would hang up. More than likely. It's not a foregone conclusion, but I just never felt the need to laugh out loud. What I do is talk to myself when the phone call ends, but laughing, no. On the other hand, there are times when I do laugh, but that's because they want me to. But it's a fine line. You have to be careful because if you laugh and they don't want you to laugh, they'll hang up. And if they feel that you're making fun of them, or if they're sensitive, you have to say, you have to read the room, you have to read the phone call. You have to see what type of person they are, if they really want you to laugh or ask them questions or be serious. I know from what I've told you, a lot of the calls are silly, even borderline ridiculous. But if it's the same caller and you get to know them, then you understand their quirks and kinks. And like any of us, we all have our things. So you have to be careful with laughing out loud. People can be very upset about that. And, look, humping his teddy bear is funny to us, but it's very serious to him. It's kind of like, well, it's not really kind of like, but, the real doll. I don't know if you guys have heard about the real doll, but the real doll is this big $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 woman. You make her up. You pick her hair. You pick her boob size. You pick everything that you want, and she's shipped to your house. Men. And this is your doll that you can fuck. She's got an open mouth, butt, pussy. So it's kind of like that. Not really, but there's a teddy bear. But still, it's like, are you going to make fun of someone who has a real doll? Yes, no, I don't know. I mean, there's a movie, Lars and the Real Girl, and it was very interesting, and it sheds light on that. So if you want to go check it out, it's with Ryan Gosling. You should check it out. It's a really good movie. Very art house. But it's like that. So anyway, I digress. I don't often feel like laughing out loud. Very little makes me laugh because I think of the psychology of it and then it brings me back and I'm very serious. And I think it's kind of where these people want me to be, in a serious mode, if you will. There you go. So that's all for now. Thank you for listening to Secrets from a Phone Sex Queen. Everything you always wanted to know about phone sex and more. Please reach out to me, like I said in the beginning, with your questions, comments, anything you want to say to me at phonesexqueen1@gmail.com, on Facebook at CJCJ, on Instagram at phonequeen1. If you're listening on YouTube, please don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the bell so you get notified when a new podcast is dropped. Thank you so much for listening, and until next time, stay sexy.